Cue the Star-Spangled Banner. Get your USA chants in the chat and in the audience. Start drafting a letter to Neo that says, this Carson guy is a biased caster. Because I am biased. Hitman's my boy. I'm rooting for him, but don't worry, we're going to even it out because we got Remo Demo here. And you're a fan of XlorD, aren't you? You're friends with XlorD. I think we got both sides here, right?
I can also very much understand your side. I think Hitman's a great player, and seeing him go up here finally against worthy competition in the US, in America, in the whole region, nobody could really hold a candle to him, but now he's going to be tested truly here on European soil.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a great match. Definitely a highlight of today, and well, the next match as well. Hitman vs. Happy is also going to be a highlight, but I think this is a true gauntlet of undeads here. If he can beat XlorD Hitman, then he might have a chance versus Happy, but if XlorD shows how dominant he's been today. I mean, he's played so good. If he keeps that up and then XlorD can defeat Hitman, then Hitman's probably not going to have much of a chance against Happy. Let's be honest here. So this is the true test. This is the true first step in this gauntlet. And a great matchup. I think a matchup we both enjoy watching, maybe not so much playing for you, but I think watching is quite good. A lot of strategies have been developed recently. The question, I think, for XlorD is how much of that has he been practicing? How many new strats has he learned? But we're going to get into the first game and we're going to see. I'm so excited, man. I'm so excited. All right. Beyond Last Refuge, Mr. Remo Demo. Let's get some hype in the chat. Let's get some hype in the audience. In the bottom left of Last Refuge, everybody, it is Hitman.
And the top right, representing Germany and Mouse Sports, playing very strong so far today, it is XlorD.
All right. 26 years young. By the way, Hitman, almost the same birthday as me. He's 24 days older than me, so I'm actually.
Wait, are you the same sign of the zodiac as him, or a different one?
I think we're both Taurus. I think we are. Yeah, he's April 4th. I'm April 28th. He was 16 days off. I was 8 days off. I'll let you figure that one out.
So, what are your uniting characteristics, or you know what I mean, like personality traits?
Well, we both play ORC. We both flame a lot of people on ladder.
That's good.
We both like Quentin Tarantino. We were talking about that at breakfast this morning. How could you not? Absolutely.
What about Hollywood?
Hollywood?
Yeah, one time in Hollywood.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
All right, that was the only one where I was like, not so sure about that. But we shall turn our attention towards this game. I'm excited for this one as well. What are we going to be seeing here? Well, we have a bit of a surprise, ladies and gents. No Faustier Headhunters here. It is a Blade Master first. Something that I have been crying out for a long time. I still feel like the Blade has a place in the meta, given the right map.
Right.
But even some of the greatest out there seem to have given up hope on him. And of course, the most prevalent name there always for orcs must be Lin. We've seen Lin play plenty of games against the top undeads recently in online competitions, 1-0, and Happy. And I think over the last 5 series or so, Lin has never played Blade, but Hitman is the one guy who tries to represent the samurais properly.
Yeah, and I think the only issue could possibly, of course, be if there's a XlorD. A little bit of lag there. It's as though we're in NA right now. It's
Nobody saw that. Nobody saw that
here. Yeah, we're role-playing. We're in America right now. Just pure spikes. Shout out to Stars and Stripes, by the way, representing over here. Okay, gloves of haste on both sides. Yeah, the Blade Master, unorthodox, but not so much, I would argue, for Hitman. He does it a lot on ladder, and that's, I think, the scary thing for the side of XlorD here. He doesn't exactly know what Hitman's going to do. Is it going to be Farseer Headhunters? He plays that sometimes. That's what he beat him at in Sweden. Or is it going to be the Blade Master? So XlorD isn't really a possibility just because of the possibility of both build orders.
Yeah. The Blade Master, the very much polar opposite of the Farseer. Not so strong early game, very limited in what he can do. Needs to take a while to come online, but boy oh boy can he be strong in the late game. And especially against fast expansion, the Blade Master can have issues on the right map, like Tidehunters or Echo Isles, for example. And whether that be XlorD fast expansion or Lich fast expansion or even DK fast expo I've seen before, but it oftentimes is a specific kind of undead who will play games like that.
Right.
Krav comes to mind, plenty of other decent European undead players, but the tippity top of the world rarely go for that fast expansion.
Right, so a few things happened by that priest. Hitman actually missed the block with his grunt, a slight mistake, could have put a lot of damage on the Death Knight. Then we saw a Windwalk and a run north by the Blade. That forced XlorD to actually kill the item from the Murloc in fear of the Blade going up there and stealing it, but then Hitman just ran back, killed the Skeleton, now he's going to get level 2 off the priest, but XlorD is going to be slightly ahead in experience. That's the upside of this Ghoul build order. Going to come in for a Coil Steel, potentially, has about 2 left. But the Death Knight, I think, wants level 3 probably slightly more than the Blade, but XlorD most likely going to get there first.
Use the One of Illusion right away. There's no way he's going to creep this, right?
You can't coil steal the Golem. I suppose, I mean, if he can tank it enough, he might be able to get away, but this is ballsy. Berserker purchased. Uh-oh.
Well, at least it doesn't get ensnared. It's the Grunt that gets ensnared instead. That one should survive. That Berserker is a great addition. It's going to provide plenty more DPS. But XlorD is keeping Hitman honest. This is always a favorite play to go for in the early game for Orc during the first nighttime. Try to get a Merc camp creep going. But now it's time for the DK to look for a kill of his own. But good blocking, great positioning by Hitman. But also the parallel creeping by XlorD with the ghouls got him nicely ahead.
Yeah, Hitman, you know, very fancy there looking, but XlorD is ending up in a good position here. Having level 3 this early, I don't think he lost any ghouls creeping that. Didn't see any extra corpses. Yeah, the fact that he's level 3 against level 2 is great for XlorD here. Hitman, you know, with some nice blocks, not losing the Berserker, but he's still, I would say, slightly on the back foot after this early game.
Yeah, certainly. I would agree with that. And it's also credit to XlorD, who's playing this early game really well. It's very easy to fall into the trap of just thinking, well, if I just creep my DK with my ghouls, that's good enough. But if you just leave the Blade Master alone, he's going to solo creep, possibly a Merc camp, like we saw there, and creep just as well. XlorD, the mastery that he was showing here was harassing while creeping at the same time, and this is where Undead has the edge in the early game. Between ghouls and skellies, you can do that. You can split up your army on the right map.
Right.
Won't be possible everywhere. Concealed Hill, for example, not so much, except perhaps a few small ones. But here on LR, it's perfect. There's so many camps you can easily creep even without the DK.
All right, so Hitman being very aggressive with that Blade Master, making sure to track the Death Knight and soon track the Lich, because the Shadowhunter's out, and Hitman needs to get to level 3. Level 2 heal wave is necessary in this matchup in order to win fights. So he needs to track that Death Knight, track that Lich, make sure he never gets creep jacked, and make sure to power creep as fast as possible. And XlorD's job, on the other hand, is going to be to find that Shadowhunter at all costs. He went for the Nova. Of course, at the beginning, Frost Armor was the meta in the past, but nowadays people realize the nuke is very strong if you're able to get Death Knight level 3. Wind Rider just to help with 1, scouting, 2, power creeping even faster, does a ton of damage, and 3, there's not a ton of anti-air. If you can force a Coil Nova on that Wind Rider, it's going to be great for Hitman.
Hitman's trying to avoid his opponent at all times, but XlorD has great vision out on the map.
Wow.
And by process of elimination, does figure out where the opponent is. Instant Hex on the Lich, wants to avoid getting Nova'd right here, and that is successful. Beautiful play by Hitman as well. He knows he's never going to kill that hero, but quick reactions with a Hex, and you know, a lesser player would have lost that Berserker a long time ago. But for Hitman, it's still alive and kicking.
Yeah, and I think a lesser player would have also probably hexed and focused a Death Knight there, but he knows he's never going to kill those heroes, like you said. But he knows that he can force in a defensive coil as opposed to an aggressive Nova and a coil. So by using these hexes, even though he's not going to get a kill, he's making sure that there's nothing aggressive happening. Maybe, yeah, another defensive coil. So Hitman gets out of here not losing anything. The Shadowhunter's quite low, though. He's still got to be careful. 4 points to round almost.
No!
Still a possibility. Insane surround from Hitman. Ridiculous. There is a coil, though. Can he get out? Shadowhunter going to turn around. Does the Shadowhunter have a hex? XlorD has to be careful. Windwalk. He saves the Berserker. Remo, Demo. My God.
USA.
Let's
that
go,
was
baby.
pretty sick. Excellent play so far by Hitman, proving how thousands and thousands of hours have led to such a perfect understanding of the race, and especially of Blade Master play. How many players can play the Blade in this early game in this manner? Very few, I want to say.
My God, yeah. If the Shadowhunter only had a hex there, maybe Hitman could have found the kill. But the damage is always good, forcing XlorD to be a little bit more defensive. And Hitman, I would argue, is ahead now. If you get out of the early game, correct me if I'm wrong, not losing anything to this Coil Nova harass, I think the Orc can stay there in a good position, similar with Farseer Headhunters. If you get through the early game, get through that harass without losing any Headhunters, or the Berserker in this case, I think the Orc would be in a good position.
Yeah, especially with these heroes, I would say the longer the game goes and the more it's crept up and the more items you gather, the better it is for the Orc in general, especially once we got the TC. But there's still lots of peril on the way. Still lots of power spikes that XlorD can try to hit. One of the most notable ones, and infamous for being so, is the Frenzy timing.
Right.
It's coming right now with Destroyers, and Destroyers also can be quite potent here. The Blade Master does do decent damage, but not really crazy until he's level 4, and there's not so much anti-air. Hitman still has a ways to go. The storm is not weathered yet, and yeah, XlorD still has more tricks up his sleeve.
And the creeping has been quite slow for Hitman because of all that aggression.
The tech as well.
Yeah, for
right?
sure. It seems to be, yeah. 9-minute mark. Torn Chief is going to be quite late, but all the upgrades are coming in soon for Hitman, and they've already come in for XlorD. He's getting Destroyer form. He's going to have that Lich, and he can grab that third hero soon. Hitman needs to take one camp. He's being very aggressive with his creeping. XlorD maybe could take advantage of that at some points because the Shadow Hunter was a coil away from dying the last creep camp. Invis Pod comes to mind, but Hitman does get away with it this time. He gets Shadow level 3, and just in time for the tier 3 timing of XlorD.
And the Rune Bracers here are excellent. I think you want to keep those on the Blade. In some other cases, you can try to go Banshees and ignore the Blade Master, but XlorD doesn't have Banshees, so he has to deal with the Blade by killing him, by attacking him, and those Rune Bracers are going to be a great help in the defense. Speaking of defense, Hitman now has to hold in the main base while he's getting pushed. We got Ensnare finishing in a moment. The shop's going to fall early, and there's not many heal salves or clarities on Hitman's side here, and still waiting for that TC. No, wait, he's skipping the TC, in fact.
Interesting. I'm not too sure about that, but perhaps there's better things to invest in currently. Ooh, the piercing damage onto those ghouls is quite good. The Dark Ranger was left behind, so XlorD didn't have the position he wanted. Also, I don't know if you mentioned this, sorry, but a greater mana, by the way, from the shop. An excellent item, but there's no town portal, so XlorD has to be careful despite having plenty of coils. He has no real way to save that Death Knight if the Focus Fire comes in. So XlorD going to back up, use the map control he currently has with this timing to try to take a red camp, but Hitman, a nice, simple, easy defense there.
He's missing that Orb of Lightning, of course, since the shop fell. It is now being remade, and the TC is finally joining. A beautiful game. I would say both players representing their region and their race and just Warcraft very well so far. Very good game on a very high level. If I should criticize something, it feels like the tier 3 and the triple hero and all that is a little bit slow for Hitman, but maybe that was the better call in the end to build up a bit more army for the mid game to not fall behind in the first place.
Yeah, I think the idea with that, at least I know from Hitman's Farseer Headhunter play, is to get a few extra units around the early tier 2, midway to tier 3 stage, so that you don't lose too much to the aggression, and then delaying that tier 3, building a couple extra units. That's why we have that early Windrider, that early Raider, and that Berserker. But, I mean, both armies, 50 supply. I think it's only been a Ghoul that's fallen the whole game. And Hitman getting some nice items. XlorD, Dallion of Courage from his red camp as well, which is also an excellent item. And the map's going to be crept out, like you say, very high level. Like, if you get to this point in the game, they've had so many fights, they've had maybe 4 or 5 exchanges, but there's been barely any units going down. So high level.
Yeah. Really like what we're seeing so far. And I mentioned them earlier, the Banshee transition is starting to come in, and that curse can really be a game changer against the Blade, who is now level 4. His damage items that he found aren't that crazy. Well, I take that back. There's the Clouds of Attack +9. There's also a circlet over there at the orange camp, and the Coda Beast, which is going to provide some more DPS. This is a lot of damage from this Orc army. The difficulty lies in keeping it all alive and knowing well how to position and utilize it the best. The problem I see is with a TC, only level 1, only the level 1 stomp. Of course, you want to have him level 3 ideally. That's normally when the Orc starts to take the lead. But even just level 2 is such a big deal for the aura. That's something that Hitman is so far away from.
Hitman can have it with a nice scout with that level 4 blade now. Getting a Bat Rider. Interesting. Is this a single Liquid Fire Bat Rider? I'm wondering, or is it just to deal with the Destroyers? Blade has to be super careful. Rune Bracers, of course, is great, but no potion at all. He passes the Greater Heal to the Torn Chieftain, which I think is the right decision, but he definitely still needs a potion of vulnerability.
Oh, he doesn't have heal salves with him to heal up now, and also no clarities. Hitman is lacking a bit of consumable items, which is going to result in him being not as juiced up in the mana department as they would like to be in the beginning of this fight. Now, the Blade has Rune Bracers, but that is not a guarantee for survival. Normally, also, Invul Potion is supposed to be added, but that's on the Shadow. But a good protection across the 3 heroes. Hitman has lots of utility here to keep the 3 alive.
I guess the idea with the Bat Rider, this might be overthinking it, but maybe to burst down that Destroyer, and then you're able to get value out of that Wand of the Wind, possibly. That would be kind of 500 IQ. Maybe I'm giving too much credit here to my friend, but Banshees are out. The big power spike is still yet to come. We haven't even seen a fight, and we haven't seen upgrades yet on those Banshees for a little bit extra mana.
Oh my god, the mana.
Oh, Jesus. And Pendant as well.
Big mana, Pendant Stone.
They're the good items.
Pendant and Mana Stone, I mean, yeah. Whoa! This is something that XlorD would normally call happy items. This time he cannot complain. Also the Lich, and also Quel'Thala's boots on the Dark Ranger. This is just insane. And I feel like Hitman is starting to lack a little bit of tech. Normally against Banshees you want to have walkers. We have none of those.
Well, Little Congo line here, maybe an ensnare on that Fiend. This is a lot of units out of
Oh, yeah.
position now. Double Bat Riders are going to connect.
XlorD.
Oh my, what is he doing?
Yeah, where's he looking? What's happening? He wasn't controlling anything. Finally now coming in with a silence. TC can't do anything. He's only level 1. He's very squishy. Trying to save him with a heal scroll, but also this Shadow Hunter.
He used the Wand of the Wind before it went down though. Last second there, the Death Knight is in the air. Something else is falling, a bunch of units. The Raider that was. One Fiend to the back is being focused down. I wonder if the Kodo got it devoured. The Blade is pretty insane, but the misses are now raining in. Silence on the Shadow Hunter. Shadow Hunter with a ton of mana, but I think the Death Knight is going to win in that regard.
The TC was carrying the dust, by the way. The burrow cannot be detected through. Blade Master is now looking for more kills. Shadow Hunter has lots of mana still left.
Oh.
I would say definitely not enough spells used by Hitman. The first heals. Oh my god. Does he save that Kodo
my
piece?
God.
With the pop out from the Blade. Are you serious? But might still be a kill in the end. The heroes are chasing it down. The supply is dead even still.
It's around! No way, he's gonna force the Potion of Vulnerability at least. I think there's just enough coils though. Maybe that's a little too fancy-dancy there for Hitman. The last of the ghouls are gonna get cleaned up. It seems like XlorD has a lot more, but at the moment it's only 6 extra supply actually. The coil's gonna make that a little bit more. Blade Master has to be careful. Torn Chieftain, of course, is already back, but XlorD, with a bad start to the fight, honestly, ends up winning it.
Oh, the Wyvern. Hitman not paying attention. Both players here with a little bit of oversight being lost, perhaps slight bit
Tiny Great Hall.
overwhelmed. Oh my god.
Jesus, Victor, what are you doing, man? Oh my god. All right, and no consumables force that fight either. XlorD still with a 5,000 mana Death Knight.
The big problem there was the TC didn't carry any invul potion. This TC must have the invul to break the silence and also just to survive. The invul was on the Shadow Hunter. Big mistake in my opinion.
He's running straight to the expansion. He's running straight there.
Oh, yeah, I think he is. That is some sick game sense. XlorD is thinking about this Hail Mary play ahead of time, and this is going to be punished, and this has cost 600 gold.
Wow.
Not worth it at all, and this could be the checkmate move right here. It must be, honestly.
That dust is a must-be as well. We need to use that. There's one Fiend going down. Hitman is a master at buying time.
Level 5.
The crit can't come in. The hero levels can carry here, but again, there's just so many coils. We might have to see maybe focus on a Death Knight or something like that.
Yeah, I would say so too. But how does he get to him? There's no ensnares.
Nice
He is cursed up.
Yeah, XlorD is aware of this, it seems like.
Oh, double silence. Hitman put both heroes next to each other. That's the next mistake. Shadow Hunter taking the brunt of the damage now. DK using coils so far defensively. He's getting closer to level 5 as well, by the way. The heal wave again a bit too late. We saw that earlier as well. The Blade Master takes out a statue. That was the last one. And the DK now getting caught, perhaps. He's got the Stomp.
We have a crit as well. Again, a really nice silence purge. Okay, Torn Chieftain does go down. Blade Master, if the Blade had a Potion of Vulnerability, he could break both the silence and the crit. Oh! 44, taking the Death Knight down. Oh my dear lord. Blade Master sometimes is a carry master. Again, still XlorD with a lot of units here, but that's all the mana. Jesus Christ, there was a moment in this game where the Blade had no items at all, Remo Demo.
He got off a Devour. This Fiend could go perhaps down over time. And the TC's going to be back soon. No, he was just started now. Hitman with a couple of errors that were not necessary.
Yeah.
Again, he didn't have the invul potion on the TC. And this time, he could have just stomped him ahead of time. He took way too long with the stomp. He was begging to get silenced, but he still got the kill in the end. XlorD, however, with the Tavern Res, has the DK back in the mix. He's got the mana potion still, so having coils is no issue. But Hitman, perhaps, back in the saddle. Perhaps he can now afford to let this expansion fall with the crazy hero levels he has.
Yeah, that's very, very important. If he didn't get some damage done, that 600 gold investment mentioned earlier would have made him lose the game. But now Hitman could possibly hold out till Shadowhunter level 5. And then eventually he's going to run the Death Knight out of mana. But not yet. The Mana Stone was used. You could say perhaps a slight error there from XlorD to not use that Mana Pot before the Mana Stone. But that was a very, very stressful fight.
Hitman has extremely good intuitive feel for how far you can go with the Blade Master.
Yes.
The Banshee's here his #1 enemy. Taking them out early, possibly with Hex before he can get cursed, that would be ideal, but it's hard to get to him. XlorD again with good positioning, both players getting closer to 50 supply, and the TC is proving to be a bigger and bigger problem. It is hardly worth the gold, which he is continuing to have to spend with the revives. He still doesn't have the aura. This also would be such a big boost for the Blade Master. More attack and move speed.
Yes.
It's not that much, but every little thing helps.
Blade Master just hoping for a purge into a crit. He can almost two-shot statues. Ensnare, all right, we're going for the Dark Ranger, but that is the one agility hero. Coil Nova there on the Tauren Chieftain. The crit's coming in. You could one-shot this Dark Ranger, push invulnerability past, but that was the one that was saved with the Death Knight. Tauren Chieftain, again, continues to be a liability. Death Knight has to be careful. Hex, but how many crits are we going to see?
Oh, I think he tried to right-click him, but couldn't click the Hex unit. And the DK Hex led to nothing. More and more coils flying out. The Dark Ranger is safe, but the Mana Stone has finally been used. The crits are still crazy with 280, but so many skellies being raised. Shadowhunter level 5, can that make a difference? It cannot. GG is called, and the first map goes to XlorD, but that was a great game. Super high level, both representing their races here extremely well. That is what we're expecting between these two top players, but a few too many mistakes in some details there when it came to the late game fights. The TC not having an Invo Potion, unforgivable.
Yep.
And also when he died, we would have to see a replay to be sure of this, but I think the Shadowhunter didn't use a heal wave until the TC died. TC ran in, he got silenced, not the Shadow, that's why he couldn't stomp, you know, the fight there up in the north. And the Shadowhunter was kind of getting distracted by a Fiend or something.
Yeah.
And he didn't use the heal wave. He exited that fight when he had to leave with like 300 mana. That's not supposed to happen. And the Shadow was carrying the Invo Potion to, you know, save himself with. But speed scroll, excuse me, is supposed to be enough. If you get nuked on the Shadow, which can happen, you can pop the speed scroll, run away. Normally that works. So a bit of a shame for Hitman. There was certainly more possible there, especially with the great items that he also found. But also XlorD with unbelievable items.
Yeah, I don't think he can continue to push without that mana pot. Out of the Tavern, you Tavern rebuy, you have 500 mana yet again. I don't think he can just re-push that tiny right away. So a couple things going XlorD's way, a couple mistakes on the side of Hitman. I think also the dust on that Tauren Chieftain in the first big exchange could have, because XlorD ended up pulling ahead after losing a lot of units early, but I think it could have been an even exchange had Hitman maybe had that dust at the tail end of the fight. And then, of course, XlorD scouting the tiny Great Hall. Some great intuition there, just knowing the timing, knowing Hitman was going to go for that, being behind. Really well played from XlorD. Very well microed. I mean, the Death Knight loss wasn't even his fault. That was just Blade Master things.
Yeah, there was just one Hex into Blade Master right clicks and 1,000 HP suddenly being gone. We're getting ready for the second map, and I think, yeah, we can't wait to start into this one.
Here we are. Autumn Leaves map number 2. A great map in this matchup. Is it great for the Blade Master or the Farseer, though? We're going to find out very soon. In the bottom left here, we do have XlorD. In the upper right, of course, Hitman. XlorD up 1-0 in this best of 3. A very important match here for both players.
And there's no barracks here. There seems to be a Farseer play indeed. This map can also work out with a Blade. Normally on the natural creep route, you can just easily pick up a couple claws. The circlet's on the way since you go to the shop and all that. Yep. But no, Hitman moving away from Blade. What do you make of that?
I think this, like you say, could be a great map for both, but maybe a better map for an expansion. Not likely to happen on Last Refuge very often, just because there's not a ton of creep camps and it'd be difficult to do. But on a map like Autumn Leaves, it has a very easy natural expansion, a very easy level 3 creep route. So we could even see like a CryptLord possibly here. So Hitman may be accounting for that a little bit, but also just maybe something he's a bit more comfortable. The Blade Master seemed to be a pretty stressful game the first time around.
Most certainly. Of course, the important thing here, what this is all about, is about advancing from the group. Here in Group B, same as Group A, 3 players make it through. Everyone seems to be certain that Happy is going to be advancing in first place, and so far, that indeed seems to be the case. Behind him are Hitman with 7 points, XlorD with 6 points, and Foggy with 5 points. That was the case at the beginning of this round. Round number 4, which we're in right now. So that means this win would be pivotal for Hitman because his last round opponent is Happy.
Yes.
And if everything goes according to plan, there's 0 points for him there.
Yep.
So this could be the series where the winner is decided, unless Foggy fails somewhere. He also has to face Happy still. But yeah, this might be the series and the win that determines it in the end. So now XlorD sees that he's going to be hounded by a Farseer. A very different play. Oh, did he get that last hit?
Still 1-0.
No, right? But
very close, though. Very close. Interesting. Is that the standard creep route to go for that small green first?
No.
I've never seen that. Okay. So maybe, I don't know why he did that, actually. Maybe he's waiting for more ghouls. Maybe he wanted to go cross-map with the Death Knight like he did on Last Refuge. And then when he has a couple more ghouls, he can creep that Berserker green camp instead. Possibly. But yeah, I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, if you're willing to invest a coil, or maybe even 2, you can take the first green camp, this one right there, fairly easily. Oh, misclick on the coil! First big mistake. He tried to get the creep, but misclick on the wolf. And that means that is big experience swing in the Farseer's direction. And this slows down the level 2 DK timing by so much, and that is always the worst feeling for the Undead. The aura really does change everything.
Oh, Trapper almost, but not quite. The nice damage rolls there. It was very, very close, but the Ghoul's going to go back. The Death Knight did get level 2 off that. That's aura. That means regeneration on the lost health. Skeletons being cleaned up by the Wolves. Summon on summon action, but the Ghouls being dealt with. It seems like Hitman is saying, your D can go wherever he wants. I'm going to stop the Ghouls here.
Yeah. Okay, I kind of overestimate that. I didn't think the DK would get so much experience over to the green. But there we are. Finally, he has level 2. Of course, against the top Undead, you can't really prevent level 2. He's going to get it sooner rather than later. But if you can reach your own tier 2 stage and get out your second hero, and the DK hasn't managed level 3 by then, that's still a good early game normally in the Orc playbook.
Right. Wanda Lightning Shield, actually quite good. If you could put it on a Ghoul or a Skeleton and pressure those Headhunters, it can be very, very nice. You put it on the Dark Ranger even, which is a possibility, although probably going to be Lich here. Ooh, Hitman with 1 Headhunter. Okay, now 2. He's going to be creeping the shop, but in doing so, he's kind of allowing XlorD to get level 3, which is going to be off the bottom right. Very creep-jackable camp, but also the Farseer is quite low. Hitman with the fast tech, of course, is already on his way to tier 3, so he's going to be ahead in that regard. But of course, XlorD is going to be using his XP advantage to get some kills here.
Ooh, the Skelly Scout.
Wow.
If the DK was there, Hitman, this might trigger him to panic move or panic use a Chain Lightning.
Yeah.
But no. Keeps his cool, picks up the item.
Oh, Farseer, though. He's going to have to TP, TP, TP. He doesn't TP, though. Oh, my God. And the reaction on XlorD. The yikes face, Hitman laughing a little bit. Oh, man. And a huge error there from Hitman is going to put him hugely behind. I mean, who cares about if you lose Headhunters when you lose your Farseer?
That is painful.
Yeah.
Beautiful scouting by XlorD, and then the punish as well. He was almost dancing with the Skelly as if to taunt him into, you know, fake pretending like this DK was going to show up when in fact then in the end he did. More coils flying, more Headhunters going down, and Hitman is so far ahead, so far behind, of course, now.
I wish. Yeah, this is rough. This is very rough. Absolutely very well played from XlorD both games, and this game in particular so far. The early level 3, despite the harass, the scouting, and then the coil to finish it off. The out of Fog of War coil, of course. Lich on the way. Hitman still ahead tech-wise. If he could only be allowed to creep the Torn Chieftain, maybe this loss wouldn't be so bad, but of course XlorD is never going to allow him to creep that TC.
2 Headhunters and a single TC at the moment. Oof.
Yeah.
This is rough times here for Hitman. I guess he has something to look forward to. That is tier 3 soon being reached. Upgrading to Berserker is going to help. Also a 3rd hero should be quite beneficial. The Borrow perhaps a tad late, but I would like to see a faster 3rd hero this time around. I really feel like that was the biggest problem of all. The fact that the TC was just way too late on the first map.
Ooh, nice creeping. Very, very efficient from XlorD here. He's going to grab not so much important that there's the experience, but the item, of course, for the Lich now, for the Dark Ranger, especially later on. Gloves of Haste is going to be great. The Torn Chieftain has sort of juked and jived and gotten away from the Death Knight, but can he get away from the Lich? He's going to be taking his consumable Overseer camp, trying to get Torn Chieftain level 3. Tier 3 has now been reached, ensnare done on the Raiders, but XlorD is soon going to follow with his Black Citadel. That's going to mean Orb, 3rd hero, and importantly as well, Destroyers.
Hitman still trying to build up a decent army, feeling forced to be creeping with the Farseer here, getting scouted once more as the TC final levels up to 2. And XlorD seems to have all the confidence in the world. He's going to claim this middle camp, now the Merc, and might also be able to go over and take the lab out, even with tier 3 still being somewhat far away.
Yeah, XlorD using his map control perfectly to take a ton of camps and to take a very valuable camps as well. He's not being over-aggressive with the whole army, just sending the Death Knight saying, I see you. He's going to get a Headhunter there, why not? He might even get this Ogre Magi if Hitman doesn't go now. Yeah, he's going to get that at least, but Hitman might be losing another Headhunter here.
Didn't have enough salves there
Stone.
to heal everything up. Oh, yeah, that Mana Stone is not going to make things easier. At least now we got Berserkers. At least the Shadowhunter is going to join in a moment. In fact, the supply is still very even, but if you look towards these levels and items, I still feel like XlorD is in a terrific spot.
Yeah.
But there are also power spikes for Hitman to it. Level 3 TC, level 3 Shadow, he can perhaps start to turn this game around with proper micro as well in the Headhunter department.
48 supply now with that Dark Ranger being picked up. The Shadowhunter now pops, so that's Hex first, Torn Chieftain could get level 3, but the Farseer certainly will. He's going to want to soak up some of that experience, push on vulnerability. Probably could be purchased for maybe the Shadowhunter here. There's the level 3. At long last, Shadowhunter meets up, but just to gobble up some more experience, TC needs a decently sized camp still to get that level 3, and XlorD might be ready to fight soon.
I'm surprised to see the Hex skill choice on the Shadowhunter and the Wolves on the Farseer. If we look towards Asia, mostly nowadays it seems to be Chain Lightning over Wolves and Heal Wave first to try to deal with the Ghoul Flood the best you can. Micro back the Headhunters, use the Heal Wave to keep him alive, stomp the Ghouls of course in the front line, and use the Chain Lightning to take him out fast. Hitman's build, perhaps slightly outdated, and now he's going to get Creep Jack possibly as well. He's got 1 speed scroll, no 2 speed scrolls, going to have to use one right away.
Nice Nova.
And he seals that last hit as well. The
Wow.
TC is still not level 3. Hitman not in fighting shape.
XlorD is playing this game fantastic. One argument I would make in favor of the Hex is Torn Chieftain, if he gets level 3, you can always Hex the Dark Ranger at the start of the fight, and that guarantees the Stomp before the Silence, and you don't have to use the Push and Vulnerability. So Hex can be good in that regard, but I would agree Heal Wave generally better. Shadowhunter with plenty of damage items, but same for that Lich. Robe of the Magi, of course, from that lab earlier, and a potential for another greater mana here for XlorD. If he gets it, I'm going home. If he gets greater mana here, I'm done. I'm going. I'm leaving.
Lots of good items to find here. Big invuln, not bad at all. Hitman was kind of broke, didn't have the big army, yet he invested into an Orb of Lightning, which is quite expensive of an item, but he wants to have that additional catch. Oh, did he skip Raiders entirely? Oh no, he has the single one, okay. I feel like it's very polarizing, the Orb of Lightning. Some games it looks like the best item in the world and you just get endless kills from it. In other games it looks like a 375 gold bad cause of attack.
Yeah, I know Hitman himself wasn't a fan of it for a while. I don't know when he changed his mind. And one thing Hitman's lacking also is attack upgrades. We see so often Orc players get 3-0 as early as they can, but Hitman not able to.
Oh my god.
That might just be a TP almost. So he's going to speed scroll away, but without all your heroes being able to damage in the fight, you might as well not fight at all.
Quite scary now. Nova hurts. There's so much mana on XlorD.
So well done.
And the German is getting more and more ahead. It could be a 2-0 against Foggy and a 2-0 against Hitman if this game keeps going the way we're seeing it now. He thought he was going to be the underdog in these games. Perhaps he was wrong. And the German undead is on his way forward. But one big stomp into the ghouls, so that's the potential to turn this game around.
They still really haven't fought yet, but XlorD is the one that hasn't lost any units. Hitman has lost a ton so far this game. And Snare on the Dark Ranger, again, could have hexed to deny that silence. Coil Nova on the Shadowhunter that has all the damage, and the Kodo in the front, the Batrider going to go in, but it's just going to be wasted now. Not going to be able to do anything to that Destroyer. In fact, going to get coiled, and Hitman struggling to find value in this fight.
Oh, Shadowhunter in trouble instantly. Trying to run away, doesn't have a speed scroll anymore. It's going to get executed by that coil. But perhaps the TC can land the next stomp. There it is. The stomps have been pretty good. They're almost surrounded, trying to lock him in, but there's an invul potion here. And Hitman's losing so much in the meantime. Big supply lead for the German undead. Hitman trying to work with very little units here left. Hit a tough early game. He was far behind. He's going to have to give it up. GG is called, and XlorD takes a 2-0. 3 more points for him. And now Hitman will have to beat Happy to be able to get out of this group stage.
Yeah, credit where credit's due. An excellent series from XlorD. He's played superb all day. These have been some perfect games. Like a couple small errors here and there, but that was a great series. A great series against the Blade. He played flawlessly. The micro was excellent, and that game, I guess that game we should call the flawless one, shouldn't we? Game 2. And good items, but you make your own luck. He got both center camps. He got, both shops, I think, even on Last Refuge, or close to. So he made his own luck there. He got good items because he had the map control, and he won the early fights.
Yeah, the choice to start creeping there rather than keep pressure on the DK, and that DK hits level 3, and he finds that crucial kill. The game's basically over from there. There's still a chance left for Hitman, and some hope for all the Americans. If he does manage to beat the raid boss. Happy is waiting in the last round for Hitman. If he does take the W there, he can still do it, but that's going to be his toughest challenge yet.
Yeah, that's going to be very difficult. But, I mean, XlorD is playing very well today. But we're going to hear how well he thinks he played. Here's the interview with XlorD.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm here with our winner, XlorD. I would love to hear about the games from you. Let's start with game 1. He played Blade Master. Did that surprise you at all? And do you find it harder to play against than Farseer, or you think Farseer is more difficult?
I mean, I know that Hitman is a good player, so he's capable of playing both styles. So I know that he's playing a lot of Blade Master on LR and Concealed Hill. So I was expecting that on this map, so it didn't surprise me.
Then game 2, he played the more standard meta, and you were also doing very well. You killed the Farsi early. We saw you make a little bit of a face. It seems like you're having a lot of fun just playing in tournaments these days. Like the interviews, you're very lively and everything. Has anything changed, or like, what's going on with all of that?
Nothing has changed, except I didn't play too much upon the tournament and almost no practice. Maybe sometimes it helps to play less. I'm pretty sure you know that also, but
sometimes it doesn't help.
Yes,
like in Masterchef.
Yeah, today it feels really good to play on stage. To be honest, I somehow feel that the mouse is way better on stage because we have here 360 hertz. It's awesome.
You beat Foggy and then you beat Hitman. Does this make you feel like you can beat anybody? Let's put Happy on the side here, but as far as the tournament goes, do you feel like you can go all the way and maybe to the grand finals, or is it still too early for you to be able to say?
I would say it's still too early. I mean, the Koreans are all really good players, and yeah, I experienced it in Sweden when I faced Shimiko. So I think they're way better offline now on equal ping, and especially the Koreans. So I'm looking forward, if I come through, to play against them. And yeah, I want also to play against Happy again. So it's only possible in the final, I guess. So I will give my best, and that's it.
It's been a long time since we have an offline event with audience. There was DreamHack, of course, but there was no spectators there. Now there's a lot of spectators. They're making noise for you. They're cheering for you. Not all of them.
Yeah.
But does this feel special here in your homeland of Germany for these guys to make noise for you like this in a tournament? And how have you been enjoying it?
I mean, it's in general nice to have a crowd again, because the last time was like, I don't know, in EPS, the German Meisterschaft back then. We always had like an Intel Friday night game in front of a crowd, you know, and it's really nice to play in front of people. It's better.
All right, thank you so much, XlorD, and good luck with the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
No more lames.
Again, no more lames. XlorD exclaiming his new catchphrase, his mantra, so to speak.
Yeah.
And yeah, it didn't look too lame. He actually he played his again. He played his game plan pretty cleanly. I think in the first game there was a little bit of shaky moments here and there.
Yeah.
I think the first time that we saw on stream today that XlorD looked a little bit shaky was in this first game against the Blade Master.
Yes.
Because Blade Master, he always makes you shaky. Like he pops out of nowhere. I mean, he found wards, but the wards couldn't cover everything. So.
Right.
Yeah, that was a great series, and yeah, XlorD all of a sudden, he's standing there as second place in the group so far. I think he only has to play against Trunks for the last round.
Right. Yeah.
And looks like he's going to face Sock tomorrow.
Yeah, that's I mean, doesn't seem like too difficult of a match with how he's playing right now. Honestly, I mean, Undead versus Human, we all know how most human players feel about that matchup. It's no surprise there that Sock might be a little lacking confidence with how XlorD's playing. So he's got a good shot here. If he keeps this up, if he can come into tomorrow with the confidence that he gained from today, he's going to just destroy everyone like he has. We do have a couple of clips from this series. So 2 maps, I would say that the first game was a lot closer. Here we're just going to see probably the fanciest play in game number 1, the 4-point surround, forcing that TP, an excellent surround. The level 2 coil comes in. The Berserker is what XlorD wanted so badly, but he has to TP out, and then the salve comes in. Just a great play there from Hitman. But honestly, it just shows that I always say, sometimes it's more, you need more substance than fancy tricks in your game. And that was a fancy trick for Hitman in that first clip. But, XlorD didn't really care about the fancy blocks, the fancy surrounds. He just played solid. He took well-positioned, good fights, and then he won that game. It was a very standard game, though, for game number 1. And it came down to finding that tiny, winning the fight. It could have gone either way in every single fight, but small errors go a long way. So that was game number 1. And then game number 2, of course, was quite one-sided. We can go into the second clip, and this is just going to show that last fight there which is Hitman was already very far behind, but we can just see the positioning is quite rough. He did not hex the Dark Ranger, so he was not able to get that first stomp off. He goes for a desperate surround, but XlorD is so well prepared, like he has been all day, that he just immediately pops the potion of vulnerability, snowballs with the destroyers and the black arrow, and there's the GG, and that's an easy peasy 2-0. So like I say, just a pure standard from both players. That's exactly how most players, including Happy, are going to play against Farseer Headhunters, and most players, including Happy, are going to play against Blade Masters. So that's what I expect to see from Happy, at least strategically. What the result will be, I don't know.
I mean, you know, if you lose 2-0 to XlorD, you better pull some sort of trick out of your head, because Happy is a whole different beast.
Yes.
You may not believe it because you have only seen... No, you haven't seen him today at all.
No,
You've only seen XlorD, and XlorD looked pretty dominant, but, you know, he 2-0'd XlorD. Like, Happy 2-0'd XlorD before today, and Happy, for like, new viewers that have never, like, you know, that haven't seen Happy yet and that are wondering what all the fuss is about, this guy is basically the best player in the world for the last, like, 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
And he just recently is, we call it slumping, because he lost like 2 to 3 series just over the course of like 5 months, you know. But I think Happy definitely is a whole different beast. So if you lose to like the standard game plan against XlorD, who beautifully executed like basically everything that he tried to do, especially in the second game, I think Hitman might have a pretty rough time against Happy. But this is the game that we have been looking forward to for years now. So
for sure.
I think maybe Hitman just wanted to hide some strategy. Maybe, you know, he wants to go in there, happy not to expect like whatever he can bring to the table. Maybe there's something cheeky. I heard Hitman talk about like strategies versus Night, for example, because he had to prepare for 3 Nights from his group.
Yep.
In Night 0, he was talking with Remo, and I was like overhearing the conversation, and he had basically an entire like game plan mapped out minute by minute for the entire, and like with like cheeky little tricks, like, you know, you keep like you keep a grunt. With a grunt, you keep tabs on the Demon Hunter. He's like 300 range away, and then you also keep tabs with your Blade Master with like 300 range away from the grunt, so that the DH won't necessarily see the Blade Master coming and whatnot. So he has a lot of like meticulously like constructed little set pieces for his game plan. So maybe he has something special prepared for Happy, because he knew for weeks that this is going to happen, right?
Absolutely. And pretty much everyone, it was kind of a meme for a while until Happy became very, very creative, but it was kind of a meme for a while that Happy always played the same. He just won by micro. So, you know, Hitman would definitely be prepared for that that caricature, I would say, of Happy. But Happy's, at this point, he invents the meta. He is the curve that everyone follows. Only really 1-2-0 is changing much. I guess XlorD did show us some new strats today.
True.
But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and we'll see after a short break. So you guys go nowhere. Make sure to watch this set, because Hitman vs. Happy is going to be the highlight of the day. I'll make sure of that.